So next we need to talk about what are the different types of statistical studies. Not all statistical studies are the same, and we're going to find that out real soon. So here are our learning objectives for the class and in the book. So first off, the subjects of our study are the people, animals, other living things like plants, or objects that we've chosen for our sample. If the subjects are people, we also want to call them participants. So I would say my study had 12 participants, or if it was an object, like there were maybe like animals, there were like 15 subjects in our study of gerbils. I don't even know where that came from. So there are two basic types of statistical studies. The first being observational. This is what my dissertation was. In observational research, the researchers observe or look for specific characteristics of the subject, but we do not attempt to influence them or modify these characteristics, right? I just wanted to interview my students, my subjects in my study, and learn about their experiences. I didn't want to change their experiences. I didn't want to alter their opinions in any way. That's observational. I'm observing. I don't have any effect on my study. The next type of study is an experimental study. So experimental studies are what most medical studies are, like the vaccine trials, testing new heart medications and things like that. So this is when researchers apply some treatment and observe its effects on the subjects in the experiment. Now it's important to note that this treatment doesn't necessarily, I don't know why I keep doing this. This treatment doesn't necessarily have to be medicine, right? It could be therapy. It could be, hey, I want you to listen to Beethoven while you're studying, and then I want to see if that improves your test scores. It doesn't have to be medical, is all I was trying to say. So why don't we go ahead and identify whether the study is an observational study or an experiment. A poll in which college students are asked if they commute or live on campus. If I ask a college student whether they commute or live on campus, that's not going to change whether or not they live on campus. Like, I'm not making them move, right? So this would be an observational study. So a variable is any item or quantity that can take on different values. So a variable could be height, eye color, age, weight. The list goes on and on. Variables of interest are the items or quantities that a study seeks to measure, right? If I'm studying students' study skills, I might care about their age, but I really don't care about their height or their weight. Those would be variables that I could collect, but really don't need for my study. An explanatory variable is any variable that may cause an effect. So for example, more studying could improve your grades. A new heart medication could lower your blood pressure, or the placebo could do nothing, right? That's an explanatory variable. A response variable is a variable that responds to change in the explanatory variable. So for example, if you study more, that's our explanatory variable, the response is your grade might go up. An explanatory variable is if you take a heart medication, your blood pressure might go down. That's the response variable. So those are two things to keep in mind. So let's identify the variables of interest for this study. So a poll in which college students are asked if they commute or live on campus. There can be more than just the obvious one. So first, we want to know where they live. The next thing it might be interesting to know is their age, right? Because if you come to school at a later age, like I didn't start college till I was 23, so I already had my own apartment. So age can be a factor. So can class standing. Freshmen are typically required to live on college campuses. So that could be another variable of interest. For most studies, you're going to want to ask them more than one question. Get a full, well-rounded view of the data. So there are a couple types of observational studies. One is retrospective and another is prospective. So retro, like in the past. Okay. So retrospective study uses data from the past, such as official records or past interviews. My study was kind of retrospective because I was asking students about their experiences during the spring 2020 semester. Prospective or longitudinal, like long time, longitudinal studies are set up to collect data in the future from groups that share common factors. So I could do a longitudinal study looking at first generation students and their persistence in completing their degree. And I could start with them as freshmen and follow and see how they're doing as sophomores, juniors, and seniors. That would be a prospective study. And that would take a long time, which is okay. So you want to know whether teens who try marijuana are more or less likely to abuse hard drugs. I hate this example. As an adult, what type of study should you do? Retrospective or prospective? So this is going to be retrospective, and here's why. In order to do a prospective study, we'd have to like give the kids pot and then see if they, over time, if they started to use hard drugs. And we can't do that. You can't do that. That's not ethically sound. We'll talk about ethics later. So this would have to be a retrospective study.